Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our webinar on leave and unavailability management in Wageloch. My name is Kiralee, I'm the Relationship Manager, and we have Sienna with us, who's our training specialist. Sienna will be taking you through all of the training session today. You're going to learn some really fantastic tips and tricks to save you a lot of time and automate the process and eliminate a lot of the errors, which will be great. We will take 35 minutes for the training session, and then there will be a 10-minute Q&A at the end. If anyone has any questions, if I could just get you to put them all in the chat box, and then we'll go through one by one and answer them at the end of the session. But I'll hand you over to Sienna to kick off. Thanks, Sienna.
Oh, good. Thanks, Kiralee. Welcome, everybody, to our training today. I'm talking about leave and availability. So for the first few minutes, I'm just going to be talking, so you're probably not going to see too much on the screen at the current point in time. But we're going to briefly talk about different leave types. We're going to talk about domestic family leave and domestic leave as well, how to create leave templates, how staff send through applications from their mobile phone, and also how you guys can manage leave. So the first thing we are going to talk about is just some of the leave types and also the family and domestic violence leave. So for those who have been using Wageloch for some time, you will know that we have things like your annual leave, your personal sick leave, long service leave. We can also add in things like bereavement. We can add in a lot of different options for leave types. If there is something that you like, just send our help desk an email at helpdesk@wageloch.com.au. We can basically set up anything that you need. In relation to your the new family and domestic violence leave, now this was recently introduced by the Australian government. We do have a very specific configuration for this, so we'll be briefly touching on that today. If you have any further questions, you're more than welcome to put those in the Zoom chat. We'll have them addressed in the Q&A afterwards. But apart from that, let's cover off family and domestic violence leave. So pretty much what we will be covering is the setup. Now, we will almost always call this family leave unless you specify otherwise. Okay, so we don't call it family and DV leave. We don't specify anything. We want to keep it as nondescript as possible in Wageloch. It is available for all staff, including your casuals, which may be surprising for some, but it is available for all staff. It starts off as a 10-day accrual, and after that, it will deduct as it's used, so as the time progresses. It also will reset on the anniversary as well. So on the anniversary of their employment, so they're with you for 1 year, it'll top back up to 10 hours again. The breakdown of how it will appear in Wageloch will work exactly the same as what their normal hours would be. So if they are so if they would normally work on a weekday, weekend, whatever it might be, it would work as same as their penalty rates, their overtime, their ordinary hours, behaves exactly the same. On the rosters, we will always flag it as not to be visible on printed rosters, so will always be nondescript. You do just need to be mindful of that depending on how that will actually appear. Okay, and it will be available for assigning in the leave calendar, roster and timesheet as it's needed. So now that that's all covered off, so we just talked about the different leave types and also your family and DV leave. How do you enter DV leave into Wageloch? You need to contact us first. We will add it in for you and we'll instruct you on how to use it. It can be added into the leave calendar, into your rosters and your timesheets to pass through into your payroll system. Okay, so just get in touch with our help desk. You can email us at helpdesk@awards.com.au, or you can send through to awards@wageloch.com.au. Okay, just send us an email, we'll add it in for you. All right, so one of the other big things that we cover is leave templates. Okay, so we get this quite a bit. How do I standardize everybody's leave? I don't want to have to enter in leave day by day and whatever times. They just do the same hours every day. So we're going to talk about setting up a leave template. We are going to enable the bulk template where we can add in your entire staff list all in one hit. And we're going to create one from blank, just as an idea. We can also copy in from previous rosters or even use a roster template as well. We'll see how this works for when we approve staff leave requests from the mobile phone app, and we'll also see how we can do manual requests as well. So we're going to cover off a bunch in one hit. It's going to be a little bit to take in. I'll try and go as slow as I can, but this will absolutely streamline your leave processes and saves you from having to add them in one by one by one. Okay, so what we're going to start with is how to actually enable the bulk leave template. So in Wageloch, all we need to do here is we start by clicking on your settings cog in the top right hand corner, and we go down to the roster settings. Okay, once we open that roster settings menu, we're going to skip all of our categories. I need to actually share my screen. That might actually help so you can see what I'm doing. How about that? All right, so share that. That's all right, John, I'm on it. So let's try that again. So we go to the settings cog, we go to our roster settings just here. All right, and once we're in there, we go into the other category. All right, so we go into the other category just here. And what we're looking for is this tool here, the enable leave template. All right, so what we need to do is we need to tick the box. We pick our start date for whenever we want our leave template to begin. So I'm going to do this as of a month ago, just to make sure I can show you the coverage. You can also pick, and this will depend on your pay cycle as well. Is it 1 week? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 3 weeks if you're on a weekly cycle? Or if it's fortnightly, is it 1 fortnight, 2 fortnights, 3 fortnights? You can actually pick and choose. So for the sake of it, I'm going to set this to 1 week. Okay, so we just set it to 1 and we click on done. Now, what we want to do, it doesn't matter if we have casuals in our leave template or if it's just our permanent staff. All we are basically doing is making sure that we simply just put in the stuff that doesn't change. Permanents, casuals, whatever, doesn't matter. So what we do now is we go back to our roster home screen. All right, pretty familiar. A lot of you would be familiar with this roster home screen. What we're going to do in here, though, is we're going to click on the roster drop down in the top right hand corner, and we select leave templates. Okay. By default, you'll see week 1 there because we've only selected 1 week. If you've selected 1 fortnight, 2 fortnights, you'll have a different template for each one. This is where you can adjust depending on your roster cycle, however it behaves. So we go into our week 1. Now, there likely is already going to be some data here because I have added something in previously, but we can see here, this is something that's already been there and it's just the normal everyday hours. Okay, now as an example, I'm just going to wipe out this day and we're going to delete everybody that's in here. All right, and you basically would treat this exactly like one of your rosters. And even if you don't do rostering, it's very similar to how you would build basically see staff in your timesheet. So what we do is we go, all right, on a Monday, how many people do we have working on a Monday? Maybe we can pick a number of people, or we can just click on add in the bottom right hand corner. Click on select staff. Okay, and then from here we pick whoever would typically work on that day. So we'll pick Albina, we're going to pick Antonio, Benito, we're going to pick Haiti, we're going to pick Jana and John. So you can pick your normal people that will always work on the Monday, and we click on done. All right, from there, we add in our shifts, just like normal, whatever their typical shifts are on that Monday. So Albina maybe does 7 a.m. till 3:30. Okay, we add in a break, right click, insert into shift, 30-minute break at whatever time. And we just do this for each person. So we add in whatever their normal hours are, and you would do this for each day, for each person. You just add in whatever their normal shifts are. Okay, so you don't have to assign your leave types or anything in here. You literally just put in their standard shifts. All right, maybe we have Hedy. Hedy just does a short shift, 7 till 11. Maybe Hedy, the other one, does 12 till 5. We have Jana, maybe she does a really long shift. She does a 6 till 4. And maybe she gets an hour-long break instead. So you can still adjust these and change these, but again, you just put in whatever their standard hours are. Okay. So add all that in. You would do that for each day, for each person, for the entire week. Now, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to show you an easier way to do this, but that is one method and how you can do it. So I can hit save. That is my Monday done. I then go through and I can complete my other days. There is a way that you can do that as well. If this was the same for every day of the week, I can go to Tuesday. I can click on this copy from option down the bottom here. Copy from another day in the roster. I can copy from my Monday. Yes, I want to bring in the names of my staff as well. I click done and it copies all that same information. So you can go, oh, these are the same shifts for these people, Monday through Friday, copy from day to day to day, then develop anything on the Saturday and Sunday that might change. That's one way to do it. You can also choose to use your roster by staff member option. You can do one person at a time. That is another alternative. Okay, and again, you can still copy and paste. So I can right click, copy and paste everything down for Amy. That's another way to do it as well. The easiest way that you can do this though is to actually use a previous roster or even a roster template that you may already have in the system. So whether this leave template was full or empty, maybe you wanted to override it, start from scratch, whichever. This is where this copy from tool in the bottom right will help you, because you can actually copy from day to day, as we already saw. You can also copy in from a totally different roster. So I can actually use an old roster to copy in from. So maybe last week, 4 weeks ago, 3 years ago, whatever I want. I just make sure I've got all my departments selected, all my names selected and my names. Click done. And that roster is now copied back in. If you use a roster template, you can also copy in from a template as well. So whatever you have in roster or roster template, copy straight into this leave template. You hit save and that is done. It's just that easy. So it's got all your normal everyday stuff in there that doesn't change. You can still add, edit, tweak, remove, whatever you need to. When you're happy with it, you just hit save, leave template done. So that's the easy part. So it takes a little bit to build sometimes, especially if you are working from scratch. But if you have something already in the system, you can copy in, great, it saves you so much time. So now that we've got this done, how does this work when a staff member requests leave from their mobile phone? Or how does it work when you do a manual booking for them? So we're going to cover that off in a moment. But before we do get to how you as management would approve or decline these shifts or modify them to apply the leave template, I'm going to show you what staff actually do from their mobile phone. Now, you may not have access to the mobile phone because you don't need to have leave booking sent through, or you don't need the mobile app yourselves. So it's good to actually see what the staff do on their phone. So I have a little demonstration of the screen here, and I'm hoping you can all see that, where we've got the mobile phone screen up and we can see all the different icons that are available. Okay, so in this case, we're going to talk about leave bookings. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to say that my name is Amy and I, as Amy, am going to book some leave off in advance. Now, the benefit of the leave bookings, both from a management and a staff perspective, is that, from both a management and staff perspective, is that you can book off leave in advance and you make sure it's locked in. Management has enough notice. They know exactly what's going on. So what we do, we tap on the leave button. Okay, so I'm Amy. I'm going to send through a leave request, maybe for some annual leave. Okay. I can also pick if it's a part day. So if it's just like, oh, I only need 1 day off for a couple of hours, I can actually pick and choose times if I need to. But in this case, I'm going to send through a lengthy request of maybe like 2 to 3 weeks. So what we do is I'm going to select, we'll select today, and maybe we'll select a month from now. I can leave a little note here for my manager as well. So I could say holiday in Europe. Okay, so I've got my annual leave in. I've asked for a month off, going for a holiday. And we click on Save Request. Okay, just gives us a prompt saying, you've requested 32 days of leave. Do you wish to continue? Sorry, was I muted that entire time? No? Okay. Okay, so as we can see, the leave request is submitted successfully. Click OK. So I, Amy, have sent through a request, and I'm now waiting for my manager to approve that. So that's how they would do a leave request. Really straightforward. They just pick and choose what days they want, what type of leave they want. They send it through to you, waiting for approval. Now, on the flip side of that, unavailability. So this is maybe more for your casuals or part-timers that could have flexible times and days that they can and can't work. So if we click on unavailability, okay, we can see that we've got 1 declined request, we've got 2 confirmed requests. So this is after management has actioned these requests. So I, as Amy, I would like to send some leave through. Maybe I'm going to do, or not some leave, some availability through, and I'm going to do this for a lengthy duration of time. So if I click from, maybe I'm going to do from when I return from my holiday. Okay. And we're going to do this for a couple of months. So I know what my availability is going to be for April through to August. Okay. I can also pick, is it the same every week or does it alternate week 1, week 2? I can pick and choose. And all it is down the bottom here is that they have a little drop down for each day in question. So what can we do on a Monday? What can we do on a Tuesday, Wednesday, et cetera, et cetera. So what we do here is I would go, can work anytime. Maybe I can't work on Mondays. So you have a little different options here for can work, cannot work, can work before, after a time, between times, or outside of certain times as well. So we're going to say can't work at all on a Monday, if it's going to let me pick it. Demo app doesn't work great with a mouse. So can't work on a Monday, maybe on a Tuesday, maybe I can work after a certain time. Okay, maybe I can work after, oh, I don't know, I'll work after 1 p.m. So they would scroll in their phone. I can work after 1 p.m. on a Wednesday. Maybe I'm good on a Wednesday. Just bear with me one moment. So maybe I'm all right to work on a Wednesday. Thursday, I can't work at all. No good. And I'm available Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we're all good there. And all I have to do is save my request. Unavailability saved successfully. I click OK, takes me back to the home screen. So it's essentially how that behaves for both the staff members for leave and availability. They simply pick their days, times, what they need, send that through to you. And from there, that's when we get into the management side of things. So if you do have any questions, please pop that in chat. We'll address it afterwards. I'm going to have a brief drink and another cough, and I won't be too long. All right, beautiful. We are back. So, sorry, I do apologize. I caught my breath and now I can't talk. Okay, try that again, round 2. So, we want to action these requests now. So, what we do now is you can see up the top here, we have our teeny tiny little calendar icon. Now, on that little icon, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so we can see that a bit better. All right, so we have a little calendar icon with a number 3. Now, we already had 1 pending request in there before. We now have 2 more that need to be actioned. So what we do, click on a little calendar icon. Okay, so we can see 2 leave requests there. So one was requested on the 3rd. Okay, and then we also have the 7th. That's the one that we actually sent through today. So we have here, Amy has requested annual leave, 7th of March through to the 7th of April. If we hover over that request like we're doing now, we can see that there's a note there that says holiday in Europe. We can see that it is overlapping with allegedly some public holidays and weekends. And it also has a teeny tiny little note there saying portal setting has request must be edited to approve. Now, what this does is because our system will never assume by default whether staff do or don't work weekends or public holidays. There is a section that when leave is available through the mobile app, there is an extra setting that will open up through the settings area for leave. And you can actually pick how weekends and public holidays approve when we tick and hit approve in this area. So you can actually pick how it behaves. But in this case, let's talk about that leave template. Now, if we didn't have that in the system, you could just simply click on the name and it would bring up the request. In this case, we've got a leave template in there. So it's just gone, oh, there's a leave template. Let's use that instead. We click OK, and that's everything that was in the template. Normally, it would bring up the original request, which would have 7.6 hours per day. You can then remove your weekends. You can remove your public holidays. You can right click and cut certain days. You can adjust the times, et cetera, et cetera. You hit save on that request. It'll update the roster. It'll update the calendar and the timesheets. Does it all for you. Now, in this case, we have a leave template as we've already set up. So if we click on Amy's name, because we want to apply this template, it will automatically realize that there's something in there for her and says, leave template was applied. Non-assigned days based on the template were cleared. Based on the template with previously booked leave, days based on the template with previously booked leave were replaced as per the template. Long story short, what this means is that if they were not added in on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday into that template, they're not going to have leave here on the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay, if they've got certain shifts and days in there, that will apply. And it's automatically come up as annual leave. Now, if that is not the leave type that you want, you can simply click on the apply template button. Okay, pick on the leave type that you want, click done, and it will still apply the leave template. It'll just change the type of leave that it is. You can still change this anyway if you wanted to. Right click on a shift, go down to roles, and I can pick and choose bits and pieces depending on what I need. Okay, if I'm then happy with that request, so we're going to approve this now, save equals approve. Okay, it'll tell me that leave has been saved successfully and it is now no longer on that screen. I'm actually going to decline this old request from the other day. All right, and now we have this unavailability. So this is the second request that we sent through. Now, again, if we hover over it, it'll say we've got 18 weeks and 3 weekends, I believe. So we have can work. We can basically not work on a Monday. We can work after 1 p.m. on a Tuesday, all day Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and cannot work on a Thursday. If we were okay with that, we could simply just tick the box and hit approve. Okay. If we were to go, oh, actually, no, not quite, we can still click on Amy's name and modify the request. If we were to change what they've sent through and hit save, they would receive an email notification saying that your availability has been modified and approved. So they actually do get notified if you change it. Alternatively, if you're not happy with what they've sent through, tick the box decline, they'll get a notification. This is the same for leave as well. If you approve or decline, they will get an email notification saying it's been actioned and approved, declined, modified, whatever it might be. But in this case, if we approve it, we go, yep, unavailability, that's perfectly fine. And it'll show up in this. Ooh, let's actually get a fresh one in here, shall we? So let's remove all those old ones. All right, but we'll get this that'll come up. So you'd have this either for a week, a fortnight, a month, a few months, could be 6 months at a time, could be years at a time. Okay, and basically what we do here is it lets us know that Amy from the 7th of April until the 7th of August can work Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, cannot work Mondays or Thursdays, and can work after 1 p.m. on a Tuesday. Now, what this does is doesn't prevent you from doing anything in the rosters. It is simply just a visual tool that if you were trying to add Amy on a Monday or Thursday or a Tuesday before 1 p.m, it'll give you an angry red warning saying unavailable. Now, if there's one off chance that in that 3 or 4 month period that Amy could work on a Monday or a Thursday, you give her a call and go, hey, I'm really, really short staffed. Can you come work for a few hours on a Thursday in the next couple of weeks? Yeah, sure, not a problem at all. You could add Amy into the roster on a Thursday. Yes, it'll give you an angry red warning saying unavailable. However, you can still add the shift in. You can save it, you can print it, you can publish it. It'll help you with your rosters. Amy will clock in and clock out and show in the timesheet as usual. So it doesn't prevent you from doing anything, just a visual thing to be like, yeah, no, wrong person. So that is availability and leave from the mobile app. So they apply for it, you view it, approve or decline, or modify it if you need to. Now, if we are going to talk about manual bookings and how to manually apply the leave template, really, really easy to do. Go into the calendar section. You can see all that leave that we've got in there for Amy, or followed by her availability. So let's maybe book something off for later in the year. Let's talk like September, October. We're not going to be doing those rosters for ages yet, but we can put this in the system to go, yep, it's booked, it's sorted. Amy doesn't need to worry about that. Leave sits in here until the roster is created, then appears in the roster as a gray bar that says annual leave, personal leave, whatever leave type we've picked. You cannot modify or change the leave in the calendar if it's been pre-booked through here. Let me rephrase that, is you can't change leave in the roster if it's been booked into the calendar. So we'll cover off editing and cancelling leave requests as well. But in this case, we're going to do a manual booking. So we click on create leave. Okay, we pick our staff member that we want to book for. So let's go Frederick. And we're going to book for later in the year. Now you can use the drop down or you can use little arrows to navigate through. Let's go for October. We're going to go for a week, Monday through Friday, 16th to the 20th. Now we can actually see here, there is no apply template button. And this is because Frederick doesn't actually have a leave template in the system. And that's how you'll know if you've missed them out of the calendar, the leave template calendar. So we're going to use Amy again because she's already there. We know she's got one. We can see that's popped up now. So we go, yep, 16th of October to the 20th of October. I could still add in my leave requests, my days, my shifts. I can right click and pick my leave types as so. This is what a manual request would typically be. You'd add in each shift and then apply it. But in this case, again, we have our apply template. We pick our leave type and we go done. It's all in there, ready to go. So it observes that she doesn't work on Fridays. And if I go, yeah, this is exactly what I want to book off, I hit save. That leave is then approved. And if I scroll down, I don't think I can get to October. We've got till July. If I click on these little arrows just here, so if I do that 3 or 4 times, it'll give me some extra months that I can view. And there we go. We got to October and we can see that Amy is now booked off. That'll sit in the system. It waits, finally create the roster. That leave is in there ready to go. Lets us know, by the way, Amy's going to be off this week. Make sure you've got someone to cover those days. Goes into timesheets, gets paid through payroll. So it literally takes care of it for you. Now, what if Amy goes, oh, I actually don't need that leave anymore for any of those days? Or maybe if we need to change some days or sometimes, maybe she doesn't need a full day or a day at all. Now, if you have approved a leave request through the pending request or manually booked one in, the only people that can action those requests after it's been approved is you as management. Okay. If you were to leave this in the roster, it comes up as a gray bar. You can't change it, like I mentioned before. And it would go into the timesheet and you can edit it in there. Ideally, you know about this in advance, so you edit it through this area here. So we go to the staff leave tab just here, where you would see however many staff members are booked off in advance. So we'd have multiple rows here for multiple people. Click on the little arrow next to the name. We pick the leave type in question. So we're going to go for annual leave. All right, we'd find the request that we want. So we want this one in October. We click select. All right, here's the request we booked through just before. So let's say that Amy said, oh, I actually don't need the Monday, but I still need the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can right click on the Monday, click cut, hit save. That'll update the request, which will update the roster. You can then add Amy into the roster. She'll go into the timesheets, get paid as her normal shift. Or what if Amy's like, oh, I actually don't need the full day. I only need the last couple of hours of the afternoon as my normal shift. So you could drag, so hover over this little bar here, drag it back for whatever time she needs. Right click on the first block and clear it out. And then I can right click and copy and paste it down. Hit save, same thing, that'll update the request, update the roster, update the timesheet. If we didn't want any of this anymore, we can hit the clear all button. I hit save. Leave is saved successfully, but if I have a look back at my annual leave requests, I can see that request for October is now gone. If I were to go into my calendar and scroll down, it's been cancelled. Say if I were to have the roster created for that period already, it would show her as a normal shift that can be edited again. Okay, so thankfully, like I don't imagine a lot of the time that the staff leave area is accessed too much. I know that a lot of people don't even know about this area or haven't used it. It is extremely beneficial for booking off in advance, even if you have a paper form that staff fill out and then give to you. They can still do that process. They give you the form, you just pop straight into this calendar section here, add it in, problem solved, done. Ideally, if you'd like to remove the paperwork, that's when we can have them send their leave request through from their mobile phone. So the last thing that I'm going to cover is it's really quick. It's just how to pull some reports. So what if I want to see how much leave has been booked in advance? What if I want to see how much leave has been taken in previous timesheets? Or maybe I want to see who's approved these leave requests that have come through from the mobile phone. There are a series of reports that you can run to get this information. So we're going to jump into the reports area. For my internet to kick in. All right, now there's usually two areas to find this leave information. So one will be in the HR report section and one will be in the the staff portal area. Okay, so under the HR reports, you do have the leave report option. So this actually works in a few areas. So you can look backwards in time to see what's been taken in timesheets or even what's been booked off in the calendar or inserted into the roster. You can also look forward in advance to see what's been booked in. So in this case, maybe I want to look backwards in time and I want to go, okay, I want to see back in January. So I can pick either my pay run or I can use a date range filter up the top here. So I can pick a duration of time. I can go into my display preferences, and this is where you can pick how to view it. So am I looking at leave that's been booked off in the calendar, forward or backward? Am I looking at leave in the rosters, forward or backward? Or am I going to look at confirmed or paid leave? That one is specifically looking backwards in time. So we're going to have a look at that. You can pick if you want to see any cancelled or deleted leave bookings, that's fine. And I generally don't make any other additional setting changes here. You can use a staff filter if you want to specifically look at like 3 staff members, that is an option. And if we'd had a timesheet that's got any leave in it, that one apparently doesn't. But as you can see, it would tell us the name. It would tell us the department if you're using them, the leave type, so annual leave, sick leave, whatever it might be, when the day was, how many hours it was as well. So it gives you all of the information you can need going, okay, I want to run a quick calculation to see how much annual leave has been taken over the last 6 months. This is the best report you can use for that. If I wanted to, alternatively, I want to go, okay, I want to see what I've got booked in advance. I could go show booked leave, but I've got to make sure I set my date range to be forward in time. So if I go like March 1st through to, oh, I don't know, we'll go through the end of May. So I'm going to look at booked leave. We're going to just go straight to the report and we'll probably see Amy in here. And it will let us know what days and times that we've booked in for. So perfect example, there we go. So we've got personal leave, we've got toil, we've got annual, we've got a bunch of sick leave as well. You can also see who's approved the request. You can also see the duration of time, how many hours in total. So this is a great example if someone's gone home sick. We've only got 4 hours of sick leave showing. Okay, so this is the sort of information. You can export this as a spreadsheet, and then you can run additional filters if you need to. The other one you can also run is the excessive leave report. This one asks for very specific parameters. So again, we can pick a date range. We'd likely be looking backwards in time for this one. Display preferences, you can actually use terminated staff in here as well. Your selection criteria is really important. So you could specifically knuckle down on your personal leave or sick leave. I want to show what's been used previously. And I can actually set how many instances of the leave type in the same week, month, or year. When I run my report, it'll bring me through anything that matches those parameters. Okay, so those two are really, really useful. You also do have under the staff portal request, you have a leave request report, so you can see how frequently people are sending through the requests, whether it's been approved or declined, and same with your unavailabilities as well. So it's all pretty straightforward. I believe that is everything for today. So we've gone through basic leave types, if you need them added in. So things like bereavement, compassionate, wet cover, let our help desk know, send us an email or give us a call, we'll add it in for you. If you are needing to add in the family and domestic violence leave, again, send us an email. We'll make sure we have it set up for you. Find more information at fairwork.gov.au/leave. We covered off setting up a bulk leave template, and we've also covered off how to action that in leave requests, and also how to create leave requests yourself and also delete them, as well as unavailability too. So we're going to open up to the chat. So if you do have questions, now is the time. We have about 10 minutes to cover off chat.
Lovely, thanks, Sienna. That was very informative, and I'm sure everyone got a lot out of that. So thanks, guys, for attending. We have recorded the webinar today, which we will eventually have it uploaded to YouTube. So if you'd like to go back and just have a bit of a refresher, feel free to do that. We'd love you to check it out there. Also, if you'd like any more guidance on any of the features that Sienna has covered today, please feel free to contact our help desk. They are more than happy to just go through it more specific to your side and just make sure that you have a full understanding of it. Happy to help you out there. We also want to make sure that you guys are getting the most out of Wageloch. So if there are any extra ideas that you've got for future webinars, we'd love to hear from you. If there's something you'd like us to cover, let us know. You can either let us know at the help desk email, or otherwise feel free to pop that in the chat box now. What we'll do is I will go through these, Sienna, and just read all the questions in the chat box, and we'll get you to answer them if that's all right.
Absolutely.
So the first one, which I know you covered off at the time, but just to reiterate, so how do you enter DV leave into Wageloch?
So for those who may have missed the first part, so when it comes to the family and domestic violence leave, we just ask that you either email our help desk at helpdesk@wageloch.com.au, or feel free to call us 087123 2993. Just let us know that you need it. The way that we set it up is we call it family leave. We give no, we don't allude to the fact that it's regarding the domestic violence leave. It's available for all staff, including your casuals. Starts at a 10-day accrual, and then it will deduct as they use it. Of their anniversary, 1-year anniversary, it will top back up to 10 hours. It will never go past that. You just let us know how you, or not how you need it, but when you need it, and we'll add it into the system for you and show you how it works.
Excellent. And then can you have a cutoff time for submission of availability for next month, for example?
Usually with availabilities, no. However, we do have a setting that is usually by default, is that when a roster is saved in the system, regardless of whether it's published or not, more often than not, that will actually block them from sending through any requests. That's also applicable for leave as well. So, you know, if you've done your next month worth of rosters in advance, that will stop anyone else from sending availability through.
Great. And can we block our staff from having unavailability access?
Certainly can. That is part of the staff portal setup. You can actually choose whether staff can submit leave or submit availability, both or neither. So if that's currently on for you, you can turn it off. That's very easy to do.
All right, and then with declining, there used to be a box to add a reason. Is there a reason this is gone?
I personally am sure, but I do believe that was during the transition from the desktop application to the web-based application. We can certainly ask if we can bring that back. That's not a problem at all. But at this stage, yeah, I'm assuming it's by design. I don't know what the developers do, so they've made that as a decision. Now, sorry, Kiralee, I actually did get a couple of private messages.
Yeah,
One was from Larissa saying, we are currently using the mobile app. However, there's none of the extra options, availability, etc. Is this a setting? Yes. So there is a setup that you would need to do. So if you're using the mobile app for clocking, usually you only see the clock in and clock out options. If you're wanting to have the options to view leave, view the option for leave, availability, or even rosters, we're more than happy to either send you a guide on how to set that up, or you can give us a call and we'll take you through it. But it is a very specific setup to get that working.
great. And do you have another one great message there, Sienna, or otherwise I'll kick back onto the
No, I've do have another one from Larissa again. So when putting in leave through the browser for future dates, how do we do this? So I think we already covered that just towards the end. So that's good. Cool. And I think the next one was from Karen. I believe you should be able to see that one, Kiralee.
Yes, so are we able to put in the unavailability
Yes.
in management rather than...
You certainly can. Let me share my screen. It's really, really easy to do. I did miss that, I believe, because we were talking about leave. So sharing my screen again. So when we're in that little leave calendar icon up the top, and when you're in the availability section, there's an option to click create. So if you don't want staff doing this from their phones. Okay, so we click on the unavailability section, click on create. And this actually is pretty similar to what they get on their phone. So you would pick the person, you would pick the date range, whether it's weekly or fortnightly. And then from there, you have the same options, whether they can work, can't work, between, outside of, etc. So absolutely, you can do that for staff. And once you hit save, that'll add it into the system. You're good to go.
Lovely. And we've got, will you be covering shift swap from the mobile app today?
No, the shift swap was actually our last webinar, which you can view on our YouTube. So if you search Wageloch on YouTube, I do believe that should be up there as part of the previous webinar.
Yeah, if you just look at there's timestamps on there as well, Kelly, so you can just go straight to that section, save you watching the whole thing. All right, and then does the leave report include leave entered in timesheets or just rosters?
You can pick and choose. So if you're looking at stuff that's specifically in the calendar, you would want to have a look at booked leave. If you wanted to have a look at what was in the rosters, you can then use what's in the rostered leave option. Or if you want to have a look in the timesheets, you can select the confirmed paid leave option. So you can pick which one you would like to view.
Great. And then can you please clarify the difference between leave and unavailability? Is leave for permanent and unavailable for casual staff?
Yeah, that is exactly correct, because casuals, apart from obviously the family and domestic violence leave, they don't get leave. So they also need to specify the days and times they can and can't work. Whereas with your permanent staff, more often than not, they have set times and hours and days that they work, and they're entitled to your annual leave, your personal leave, that sort of thing. Now, if it's easier for you, and I don't want to overcomplicate too much, we can add in leave types for casual staff that don't pay anything, they don't go anywhere, and you can use leave instead of the unavailability for them just to specify, I can work every other day except for this one, and it's just considered unpaid leave. We can do stuff like that if needed. If you want that or have questions about that, or you have no idea what I'm talking about, definitely contact our help desk team and we can go through that with you. It's really easy to do.
Excellent. And I love that we've got some of our Wageloch community jumping in on that. Thank you, Rob. He's jumped in and answered that one for us too, so appreciate that. So we've got another one here. What if a person's roster has changed after approving leave?
Yeah, and that would be where we went through the staff leave area where you can adjust the times and the days of the leave requests. So if you have approved their leave template and you've got that all set up, they've had leave approved as well, you can go back in and adjust the leave template. You can then go back into that staff leave area in the leave calendar, and you can then reapply the template, or you can edit or change it.
Great. And then some of the features mentioned, are they only available on the web-based system?
No, actually. So the leave and availability has been in the system since inception. The format has changed slightly over time, but the things like the leave bookings and availability from the mobile app, that is still all there in the desktop version, same with the leave and availability. So the terminology and the detailing might change very slightly, like the names or some of the words, but the actual format is identical.
Great. And then at the end, we've had one of our team, thank you, Rasmi, jumped in there and has just added in the link to YouTube for our last webinar. So that'll be easy to access that way. Wonderful. And if no one has any other questions, then if there is anything else that you'd like us to answer, please feel free to reach out to our help desk, which is helpdesk@wageloch.com.au or 0871232993, and they'll be happy to take you through things in more detail. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. See you, Sienna. Thanks.
See ya. Bye, everyone.